If the bottom of your door jamb is rotted like this, replace it with a jamb that never rots. Watch how. Today I will be replacing this door jamb. As you can see, the bottom of both sides are rotted. This is a common problem for exterior door jambs, especially if you don't have a screen door. I will be replacing the screen door you see here with one that has a glass. Because this screen door only has a screen on it and not a glass, water is still passing through the screen and reaching the bottom of the jamb, causing it to rot more. This video is for replacing the door jamb. The screen door is another video. Now, you could cut the jamb and just replace the part that's damaged, like someone did here. Just know that if you use wood and there's no storm door, it will rot again. Hell, even with a storm door, it can rot. So this is the jamb I will be replacing it with. Bought this at Home Depot for $70. And it is a PVC plastic door jamb. So I will not have to worry about it rotting again. Here's some of the things I will be using. Clear silicone, black caulk, white caulk, caulk gun, spackle. Here you got regular drill, tape measure, speed square. Might use some needle nose, hammer, hammer drill, saw, utility knife, a multi-tool, and a nail gun. Pull the pins, hit it with a hammer from the bottom, pull the pins out. Get the door out of the way. Then the screen door, remove the screen door, set it to the side. Take the door, set it to the side. Okay, this is what was left with. It's usually brick molding. I just use this to help build it out so I can put on the screen door. This jamb's been rotted for a while now. I put this on here just to help from keeping it deteriorating. So this is something that's been like this forever. I'm just now getting around to it. But it hasn't gotten any worse, but it's still bad. Now you can see right here where it's been replaced before. I don't know who did this, but this was a good spot to how they did this. They did it correct, because one, they kept the line by the hinge so it can hide this seam here, and they put it on an angle going down, so when rain hits it, it'll flow down and it won't sit on the seam where it'll rot faster. So they did a good job, but as you can see, the wood still rots, and this is what happens when you don't have a storm door. So if you don't plan on putting a storm door, use the PVC door jamb. If you do the PVC door jamb, then you won't even need a storm door. But for me, I'm gonna put a storm door just because I want a screen door up anyway. So now, if this is brick molding, you'll just cut the caulk and pry it off. Cut the caulk over here, pry it off. But this one here, It's screwed in, so I'm just gonna remove the screws, cut the foam. So I'll be doing that, just removing all the screws. Then I'll be taking this piece out. Then for this side, this is just regular door casing. I'm gonna cut it with my utility knife here, cut it here. And I'm gonna try to reuse this trim and pull it out. So right now, I think I'm just gonna take these off. Okay, so this is what it's looking like. See, the screen door was added after. That's why you see the stucco here. So most likely yours is like this. Now I'm gonna use my chisel and take all of this caulking off and go all around. And I'm gonna remove all the hardware right now. Striker plates and the screen door latch. Now also, this has an alarm. So when I go to remove this, I need to be careful. Right here, there should be some wires. This is, I believe, a magnet. This is why you want to remove all the hardware. It's a screw holding the jamb right behind the hinge. So if I would not remove the hinge hardware, I would have not known the screw was there, and I would have been fighting with it. So now I'm gonna go ahead and take the rest out. Okay, so next up is the door casing all around the door. Again, being careful, try not to break it. Take your utility knife, cut any caulk on the back. Then you can take your chisel. Again, I'm trying to save this, so carefully pry it out and do this all around. Take the trim, set it to the side. Okay, so now I got the door casing off. Now you can see what's behind here. 3/4, you got a big gap. Here's the wire for the alarm. Going to my sensor right here. Now what I'm gonna do, remove the weather strip. Sometimes there's screws behind them. Trying to see if the jamb is tucked behind the threshold, which it looks like it is. I think I will take the multi-tool and cut my jamb Then I'm gonna take these screws out and set it to the side, and take the jamb out, set it to the side. Another thing that I like to do is get my first measurement for the hinge. So measure from here to here, and then you can know where you have to start your first hinge. Okay, now I'm gonna go around the whole jamb, look for screws. As you can see right here, there's a nail. You can see that. There's another nail. Just look for any nails and screws. I'm gonna put a metal blade on the multi-tool. I'm gonna cut the nails from behind. There's another one hiding. Okay, now on this side, the jamb might be attached to the stucco. You can just tap it, just to knock it loose. See, now the cracks opened up. There you go. So you push down on it. There you go. Okay, now I can finish taking out the rest of the jamb. Just got my chisel, pulling outward. Okay, now the jamb's off. Now I'm gonna set it to the side. So this is what I'm looking for. Just seeing what else got to get done. I'm gonna have to clean that up. Take that nail out. Checking the board to see if it's loose, which is this one is not. This side is though. So I'm gonna have to put some tap corners in that one. This is fine. I like to use a chisel just to scrape off anything. Okay, now I'm gonna go around and take any nails that I see out. That's sticking out. There's another one. Now I'm gonna tap corner this back in place. Now to tap corner this back, I got my hammer drill, so it's a hammer, my 532 or 1532 drill bit, don't remember which one it is, and some 2 1/4 tap corners. Okay, now my pieces are secure. I am gonna clean it right now. And then while that dries, I'll work on the jamb. So what I'm gonna do is just pour some water on it. Scrub it. I'll let that dry. Okay, now I gotta get the height of the jamb. So for that, I'm gonna set the door on a threshold, how it sits. So now what I'm gonna do, I'll measure from the floor. So from here, because this is where my jamb is gonna sit. So from here to the top of the jamb, to the top of the door. From there to the top of the door. So that's saying 80. And 3/8. Write that down. Okay, let me show you what I'm doing here. So here's your threshold sitting on the floor. And then you got your door. So you're gonna measure from the floor to the top of the door. And then you're gonna add 1/8 for the gap. And then whatever size thickness your door jamb is. So that's what you're gonna cut the new height of the jamb. So from the top of here to the floor. So now let's measure the thickness of the new jamb. See what we come up with. And now it looks like it's 3/4. So now we're gonna add 3/4 to our measurement. 81 1/4. So that's what we need to cut the sides of the new jamb. So now the top of the header was 32. You can measure this and see what this is. So that's 32 as well. So that's how you know the top part needs to be 32. So here's the new header. What I like to do, you can't take the weather strip off. But I think it'll be safe to cut it with it on it. So now I'm gonna mark it 32. My speed square. And then just to make sure I cut it square, use my speed square as a guide. I'm gonna hold it tight like this. Once I line it up in place, I'm gonna see where the blade needs to fall in line. Once I think this is there, I'm gonna hold this down tight, and I'm gonna just let the saw go through. Now each jamb has a notch like this. This is the top of it. That's the side you don't want to cut. So now I'm gonna measure from the top to down here, 81 1/4, and cut it. And I'm gonna do this for the left and right side. Okay, now this is how this thing goes together. You want to lay it out somewhere flat. You want the weather strip facing up. Okay, now I got some 1 5/8" galvanized screws. Now I'm gonna take the weather strip off on these, set them to the side. So go just like that. Then you put your screws in through here. You want to make sure this corner's flush. Get a little closer with Canada as to dry. So yeah, you just want to make sure this is, not twisted. This is flat up against the other one. Make sure this is flushed, and you pre-drill your hole. 3 should be good. Okay, now do the same for this side. Okay, so now once it's in, now you want to determine what side the hinge is going. So the door will get lifted up and turned. So the hinges will be on this side. Now is when you take your measurement from that top corner down to where your hinge sits. So from that top corner down. So seven 3/4 plus 1/16. Now don't judge me saying 1/16 because I'm not gonna sit there and count no 16ths. So now use your speed square, then set your mark. Now this is where the hinge goes, your first hinge. Now what I'm gonna do, unscrew this, take this back out, and set this on some horses so I can rod out for the hinge. Okay, now that we got the measurement for the first hinge, now we're gonna measure for the other 2. So set your tape measure on top of the hinge, measure down. So that says 30 inches. Now we can transfer that to the jamb. And get from the second hinge to the bottom hinge, 30 inches. For the jambs, we're gonna have to rod out for the hinges. So this is how I have this set up. There's my first mark from the top of the header. Now from here down, I'm gonna measure 30 inches and set my other mark. And notice how I have the fat side next to the skinny side, and I'll show you what's that for in a bit. But for now, let's transfer the marks. Here's the old jamb. So now we gotta transfer the mark of the hinge to the new one. And for that, we need to know how far back to bring the hinge. So what I like to do, set my hinge in place and set my mark right at the edge of the jamb. I'll do that each hinge point. So now we're gonna route this out. For that, you will need a router with this kind of bit on it. Let me zoom in here. So to get this the proper height on the router, that's how you do this. Set your jambs up like this. This is the side that's getting routed. This is the other fat side. So how this works is this is gonna ride right along here. But to get the right height, the depth of the hinge, to get that, make sure your hinges are clean, flat, nothing in the way that protrudes out that will make this raise up. Son of a bitch. Rigid, baby. So set it as close as you can. Take your router and loosen it. Let me see if I'm still. Okay, now what you want to do, set that up like that. You make sure your router is sitting on top of each hinge, and then you lower this till it touches the jamb. Make sure both jambs are sitting somewhere solid and flat so you can get an accurate depth. So set this here. Now I'm gonna lower it. You see, it just hit the bottom of it. That's a good depth right there. Lock it in position. Now, when I go to route this, it'll be the correct height, the depth of this hinge. So now I'm gonna plug this up. Make sure you have safety glasses on. This does make a mess. My guard is gonna stay on the jamb. Make sure that everywhere I need to go, it's always gonna be touching both sides of the jamb. This side's gonna be touching this, and the other side will be touching this side. So it looks like I'm okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and start routing this out. Try to do the edges first. Get real close to the edge, then slowly creep up on the edge. You see where it got away from me right there a little bit. Just do close to the edge and then just keep creeping up slow. Do all your edges first and then take out the center part. So I'm going to take a little bit more off this end here. Okay, perfect. So it's flush. And the lines where they need to be. Now I'm gonna do that for the bottom hinge and the top. Perfect. You can put 1 3/4 inch screw in it if you want, or we can wait till the jamb is up. I will put it in now. Just cause. Just cause. We can too is set the alarm in place. Now if we want, we can measure it, make our hole and set it in. Just have your wire sticking out. It's probably be easier to do now, but I like to make things difficult for myself. See how much play we got in the wire. So screw the frame back together. Okay, now we screwed our frame back together. Now is when we can pick it up. One piece. Set it in place. Again, this is my wire. I'm scared to take this off because it might break the wire, so I'm gonna leave it. Again, set it in place. Set the wire in above the jamb. Arm wire. Now when you put this on, you gotta make sure this is flush with this right here, like that. And you wanna make sure on this side, you can see where the old jamb fell. Just wanna make sure it's back to where it was. All the way down. Now that the jamb is sitting in place, now we're going to set the threshold down and back in the same holes where it was before. Then we can know which way we need to move the jambs and where we're going to have to cut it. Notch it, rather. Okay, so you can see how the threshold fit. So I can either cut this with the Dremel, or I can just notch out this part right here on the PVC, which is a lot easier and less messy and hard. So now I'm gonna set this, I'm gonna line this up back to the old line there. Make sure the jamb is flush with the wall, and then I can put my mark on where I need to notch this. And I'm gonna do the same for the other side, just so you know that's how that's sitting. So now I'm gonna do this side the same way. Make sure this is where it's at, it's where it's supposed to be. Make sure the threshold is where it's supposed to be. My old line. Where it's supposed to sit. See, it's flush here, but then it hits that. Same over here. So see, the threshold is flat, but now I gotta notch the two ends so I can slide the threshold over. So this is where the threshold is gonna sit. Put my mark. Here's my line. Now this is why I cleaned this area with water earlier, to make sure the dust is off and it's pretty clean for the silicone. I'm putting silicone on both sides of the jamb, nice thick beads. So you see, I'll set that in there. Try to put it a lot. What this edge is, it's gonna sit on here. Same with this side. I'll put my jamb in first, and then I'll put silicone right at the line that I made, where the threshold sit. That line and this line here. Okay, now set my jamb back in place. I got my hinges out, my shims off. So now I'm gonna try to put the jamb right on top of the silicone, right at the edge where it needs to be. And then I'll just scoot this over, the top over, to set it in place. Again, checking the wires, clear. Now you want to take the threshold and the dirt off of it. Rag. You see, you can only put silicone here and here, right at the edge. Over here, maybe. But that's the only thing that's gonna keep water from coming in. Okay, now notice I'm gonna hold up the back end so it won't smear the silicone towards that back line. I want the threshold to sit on top of as much silicone as possible. So right there is exactly where it needs to be, and I'm just gonna take the silicone, make sure the ends is plugged up. This edge here. Okay, now I'm gonna tap cone screws back into the threshold, and that is not going nowhere. Start at the bottom, flush it out with the threshold, then put a nail, tack it in. Okay, before tacking it in, you want to make sure that the jamb is flush with the wall for your door casing. Okay, always have your level and check it constantly. Make sure it's flush with the wall. Okay, right there is perfect. Applying pressure to the jamb this way so it don't fall down on me. Now I gotta make sure, again, this is flushed over here, which it is, and I can tack this in place. Now go up, do the same thing to the top. It's good right there. Again, making sure the top is flush with the wall. It's a good spot right there. Tack that in place. Now what I'm gonna do is put some screws in the hinge. Don't want it too long because you don't want it to hit the block. Screw, one screw in all the hinges. Okay, now this is just the first round. Now we're gonna put the door in and check it. Have your hammer close, pin ready, close. Now take the door. You're gonna take the door back down, so don't put the pins in all the way. A little bit off alignment. Just tap hinge to the sin. Check the bottom one. Bottom one's the same way. A little bit off alignment. Just tap it up so it falls in place. Put your pin in. Temporarily. Same with the middle hinge. Okay, now what we want to check for is to see how out of square it is up top. We're going to check the sides. We're going to level up the top, and then we can see the gap on the side. So we're going to see this part here. Close the door. This part, same gap all around, so that's good. And then we're going to make this gap even all the way down the door. Then we can see how many shims it needs, which way it needs to go, if this needs to go up or down, which doesn't look like it. That looks like it's good right there. You know, once it's been shimmed out and tacked in place, then we can go ahead, take the door back down, and add more shims all around, secure it better. Also, this is a PVC jamb, so you're gonna want to use longer screws, especially on the hinge side, because PVC is soft and the door is heavy. So the weight of the door, you're gonna need to anchor it, the hinge, a little bit better than normal. So set that in place, check the fit, make sure the door is not hitting. Sitting towards the bottom, but not there. Again, I made sure it was flush. And just keep making my way further down the door. Okay, that one's good. Again, just keep doing the same thing, working your way down the door. So these two, as soon as I open the door, they're gonna want to fall. So that, put a little mark where it needs to go. Open the door. Now I'm seeing it's hitting right here, but again, this is why it's a temporary fit right now here. So hopefully when I put a screw in, it'll push it over. And I got an 1 5/8" galvanized screw. Let's see what happens. And now it's not hitting. That's what I want. Okay, now I'm gonna put another screw. This is a countersink bit. Cut the extra. Shims out. Again, the same process. Shim. So now, right in the middle of this, in the middle of that, you want to put a mark. So you got your marks. Now you can take a square. Just mark one mark here. Now we put your mark, you want to go 7/8. That's where you'll drill your 1-inch holes at. Now that that's done, you can remove the door again. jamb all secured. Now we will mess with the alarm. Cut the wire. Just so I'll put the same wire back and mark it. So now I got this out, I'm gonna strip it. So to find the correct hole for this, I used the old piece and I drilled a couple of holes to test it out. So it's like a 3/8. So there's the alarm sensor. Put a mark where it's at. Before I put the door on, once I put it on, I don't think I want to take it back off. So I'm gonna put back up the door casing. It has nails in it. Now is when you use your needle nose, pull it out from the back so it don't blow out the other side. Just clean it up, take all the old caulking off. Also, before you put the door casing, now will be the time to put the spray foam. Just make sure you use I think the one for windows and doors. This is going in the garage, so it doesn't really need it. Take the trim, put it up. Now you want this corner of this trim to fall right about there, just to give a little reveal of the corner of the jamb. So right about there, looks good. Now I'm gonna shoot it on. I'm gonna put two nails, one close to go into the PVC and the other one to go into the wood. I'm gonna do this all the way down. And right now, I think I'm gonna caulk this as well while the door is down, just because it's a pain in the ass to do when the door is up. This one can wait until I put the door up, because it won't be, I can close the door and it won't be in the way. But this one here, I'll caulk now. Yeah, now I can throw my door on. Put my door back on. And the only reason why I want the door on now, because I want to make sure that the alarm sensor is going to line up. Again, I'm not going to hit the pins all the way in, just in case. Check the door again, make sure it's not rubbing, hitting nowhere. It's not. Now this is what I wanted to see. Here is the mark on the door where the sensor is. So you see I'm off about 1/8. So I need to go over to the left 1/8. About right there. Let's see, on top of the door. Looks like right about there. can see that. There it is here. It's a 7/8. So the door's pretty much flush with the jamb. So we have to go 7/8 from the jamb. Not 1.25 inches. I'm saying it needs to be right there. I'm gonna compromise it. Go over 1 inch in between the both of them. So right there is where I need to put my alarm. Heard that beep? That means it's working. Watch. Okay. And this is no longer fitting in here. See, it's gotta get cut. So I don't want this corner to be further that way. So I need to cut this one right here, whatever that is. But first, I need to cut this one down some, about 1/4. So I'll cut that, but I'll cut it on the straight edge first. So set that to the side. So now I'm going to solder these goddamn wires. Put my top piece on. So I'm gonna test it, give it a little pull. Sounds good. I don't know it's good. I don't know it's not coming off. Test the door again. All good in the hood. Okay, now that the wire's set, now I can take my piece and door casing and shoot it on. Again, shoot one close to the edge so I can go in the PVC, and the other one to go into the wood. Now I'm gonna measure the center of the hole, which should be 7/8. That's just so I can know where to put my screws. Gonna temporarily put the striker plates on. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I'll make sure I have a sharp blade first. Then I'm gonna score around the striker plate, just like you would do a wood door. Got the shoulders, but after I scored it, I removed both plates and then used a hammer and chisel to chisel out the area that I cut so I can recess the striker plates in the jamb. I probably forgot to hit record. Sorry about that. And once you get done with that step, check the door to make sure it doesn't hit the striker plates. Okay, now you can put your weather strip back on. Put the top piece on first. And for the top corners, I like to cut them like this. Put a little angle on it. And that's for when you go to put it on, it'll go snug against the top one. Okay, now when you get to the bottom, I like to use like a flat putty knife and tuck it right in at the corner. Then that'll leave an indentation on the weather strip. And then you could take your 10 snips and cut it. Now when you put it back, when you push it in, it stays in. That means your weather strip is a little bit too long. You gotta take it back out and cut it a little bit more off of it. So that's what's happening here. Cut a little bit more. There, perfect. I'll do the same procedure for the other side. Okay, so now the door's closed. Make sure it's locked. Now I can check for any light coming in around the door. Can't really tell because the trim is white. But so we're good there. Now I'm gonna put the blind back up. So now that we know the door is good, we can finish hitting the pins down. Okay, so now we graduated to outside. Now we gotta clean this all up and then caulk around the jamb. Okay, so I got the jamb all cleaned up. Now I'm gonna caulk. Now if you're not putting a storm door on, you'll be done with the outside after you caulk. So there it is, all caulked. Now, screen door. Okay, now as you can see, I got the screen door up. That's another video. But for the inside, for the finishing touches for the inside. Okay, for these holes, we're gonna put spackle in them, and then caulk here, caulk around here, and put spackle in these little nail holes. I'm gonna do that all the way around. Then use a lightweight spackle to fill your holes. So I also need to get a new U-shaped door sweep for this screen door. So the jamb. Thanks for watching. Just helped you out. Thumbs up, like, peace.